Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions as we continue to do predictions for the upcoming season. We've done League 2 and you can see that already on the channel, and now it's time to do League 1. As always, thanks to everybody that likes and subscribes on the videos. There will be timestamps down below, but they're not going to give away where we've got each team. They're just going to name 23rd, 22nd, 21st, so on. So you have to watch the video to see where we've ranked every single side. And also stick around to the end because we've got news and exciting promotion that we're running in association with Grandstand Betters.
And we've also got an affiliate link with Amazon. If you're going to buy something in the next 24 hours, please click through the link. You don't just need to buy the product. If you just buy the product, having clicked on that, any product, having clicked on that link, we get a little bit of money. We pour it back into the channel. A small moment of time for you, but it's great for us and we really appreciate it. So please, below.
And with all the self-promotion out of the way, let's jump into the best of the English football leagues. It is League 1.
And Ian, we start on a sad note in 24th place. In 24th place is Wigan Athletic, and I think we can both agree that football should be decided on the pitch. And for a team that's getting relegated, we're actually going to talk about this for far too long, because football gives us a chance to stay in touch with our childhoods, to feel pain, jubilation, and an emotional experience in 90 minutes, to get a connection with other people, to have the romance of the on-field action snatched away by events in a courtroom and in-house meetings is out of keeping with the spirit of the game, and it pisses me off, and it's pissed me off for the last 2 years, the amount of shit we have to talk about in League 1. Why is every mismanaged club in this division? It's a joke. Wigan Athletic have a 12-point deduction, confirmed their relegation from the championship, has not truly punished the ownership group, Next Leader Fund LP. What a fucking ridiculous name. And under whose new reign, club funds have completely disappeared. It punishes the supporters, now departed manager Paul Cook, who inspired his team to accrue an incredible 39 points from the final 21 games. Even on the final day of the season, they had a chance to win. They beat Hull 8-0, and they've been relegated. And now, half their team's gone. The club is falling apart. There's some optimism that Sam Morsey may establish himself as a Ladix legend by staying on for the relegation battle of League 1. He's good enough to play in the top half of a championship side, and this is the ultimate showing of incredible loyalty from Morsey. Like, if he stays for the whole season, at least Wigan fans have something to be happy about. But I stick by what I said at the beginning. This is a joke. It shouldn't be allowed to happen, and I'm just disappointed it's gotten to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, some of these predictions, we do them. This one gives us no joy whatsoever to put Wigan down there, especially, as you already said, they were like mid-table championship side. To be in this position is an absolute joke. But on that sad note, we move on to the next side, and this one's very, very painful of who is going to be in 23rd place.
This is the last time I make this joke. It's Ian's favourite club, Rochdale.
Ow!
It's the final time. Brian Barry Murphy has shown potential in his start at management in Rochdale, who were committed last season to playing out from the back. It's a shame, therefore, that the Dale are likely to begin the current campaign with a drastically weakened squad. Prodigal right back Luke Matheson is now permanently at Wolves. Attacking left back Luke Norrington Davies is back at Sheffield United, while controller Callum Camps and evergreen goalscorer Ian Henderson have taken more lucrative offers at Fleetwood and Salford respectively. Rochdale's lack of quality up top and reserve should see them end a commendable 7-year stay at this level, but not without a few youngsters starring along the way. We've got Rochdale in 23rd. And in 22nd,
we've got AFC Wimbledon. Can they pull off a great escape? No, they can't. They've been in this league for far too long. We cannot wait for them to go down and dissolve into MK Dons Mark II. We're kidding, Wimbledon fans. Glenn Hodges came in October and he did make them a more steady club, but this is a club that's been somehow battling against relegation for the last couple of seasons now, and all of a sudden, and just managing to scrape away from it. They, like 2 years ago, they went on a really good run. Last year, it looked like the fact that it wasn't a full season really helped them as well, because it looked like Tranmere were really gaining steam on them. It is a small squad, it's got limited ability, but it does have a good spine to it. They've got a goal scorer in Joe Pigott, and they have signed Ollie Palmer in as well, who will improve them. But I just don't think they're good enough at this level, and I think this is the season they're going to go down. AFC Wimbledon, 22nd place.
And in 21st place, Ian.
And this one again is probably going to get some people angry, but we've got Accrington Stanley in 21st place. Again, this might be one we're completely wrong on, and Stanley love to upset the odds. They love to kind of be the side that finishes mid-table when everyone predicts them to go down. They love it when their back's against the wall. But I actually think this will be the year where Stanley do come unstuck. Obviously, John Coleman is a wonderful manager there. He's been there for many years and continues to do a good job, and they will give it a damn good fight, and I'm sure they'll cause some upsets and cause some shocks along the way. They do have some good attacking options. They've got Sean McConville. He's come in with like new signings, like a young lad called Tom Allen's come in from Newcastle, Ryan Cassidy, and there's also players like Charles and Bishop there as well that were there from last season. Again, a lot like Wimbledon, I just don't think the squad's that big, and I just don't think it's that full of talent, certainly when you get past the first 11, and that's going to be ultimately their downfall. It doesn't bring me a lot of joy, but Accrington Stanley are the final side relegated in 21st place. Thomas, who are the side in 20th?
So it looks like we've got Northampton Town in 20th, and they picked the perfect time to deliver their best two performances of the 1920 campaign at the very end. They overturned a 2-goal first leg playoff semi-final deficit to beat Cheltenham 3-2 on aggregate, and then they thrashed Exeter 4-0 in the final. That, I think, had more to do with Exeter's complete inability to play at Wembley than Northampton being that much better than they were. The release of midfield general Alan McCormick means 6 of the starting 11 that trounced the Grecians are no longer at the club, plus goalkeeper Di Cornell and toll poacher Andy Williams, along with attacking options Jay Olayinka and Paul Anderson. This is why we're not backing them this season. They've lost a lot of players. They had a bit of a good run in the final in the playoffs, and we just don't see them having a great year here in League One. They've got to really wisely and quickly reuse some of the money that they've recouped from selling players. Their League One life could be very shortly lived. We have them just on the edge of relegation. That's Northampton Town in 20th. In 19th, Ian!
We've got the club that you loved to joke about last season. We've got Bristol Rovers, the Gas. Have you got anything to say about the Bristol Rovers car factory?
The Bristol Rovers car factory is the single greatest car factory Britain has ever had. Fill up your car, get it driving, second gear, go, go, go.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. That's better than what I've got. But on the pitch, they were extremely inconsistent last season. At one point, they were as high as 4th, and they ended up finishing mid-table. I do think it's going to be a struggle for them again this season. They seem to be some issues off the pitch as well. Like the manager last season left and went to a club in the league below. Ben Garmer is the manager now, but let's be fair, Bristol Rovers just love to rattle through bosses, so I wouldn't be shocked if he's not there at the end. Scoring goals, again, was the biggest problem for them, and that's surprising considering they had one of the best strikers as well in Johnson Clark-Harris, and they haven't got him anymore because he's jumped to Peterborough. And let's put it in perspective, Southend United scored more goals than Bristol Rovers last season. So not only will they miss Johnson Clark-Harris, but they've also got rid of a lot of good players, although they have had one good player coming in, which is Zane Westbrook, which I think will help them a lot. So I think it's going to be a tough season. They'll be fighting relegation, but you're always going to get a guaranteed 6 points against Oxford, so look forward to that, at least, Bristol Rovers fans. In 18th place,
we've got MK Dons. Revered as a fine motivator in his playing games at Norwich City, Russ Martin is hoping his leadership qualities can translate into management at MK Dons. Since esteemed coach Luke Williams teamed up with Martin to provide greater tactical nous, the Buckinghamshire outfit have taken 24 points from 19 games, which is not a bad effort, with the same players that had only taken 1 point from the previous 9 games. But goals are the problem at MK Dons. The division's joint third lowest scores with 36 goals in 35 games. They have been held back significantly by long-term injuries to willing runner San Nome and wide forward Reese Healy, who is among the best in the division when he's fit. Keogh protects one of the league's best shot stoppers in Lee Nichols, but there is going to need to be serious improvement from MK Dons. MK Dons, 18th place.
Odd club, aren't they, MK Dons? Odd.
I mean, MK Dons and Wimbledon, we both tend to always think are going to go down, and then they just manage somehow to stay up.
Wimbledon are kind of a side you think are punching above their weight, and MK Dons, and I know they're going to hate to be branded in together. They've got such a big stadium and such a, you'd expect them to be a club that is branching higher than this level.
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely.
But anyway, 17th place.
We're talking about Shrewsbury Town now in 17th, and the way that Shrewsbury Town's board and fans feel towards manager Sam Ricketts seem to be some way apart. Owner Roland Wycherley has overseen just one managerial sacking in 10 years, and CEO Brian Caldwell has loyal instincts too, which means the club look willing to let the 30-year-old build and learn from what was, on paper, a reasonable first season in management. While supporters respect Ricketts personally, they were uninspired by the football, or as Ian would call it, the anti-football on display last season, and the perceived absence of a clear playing identity. Ricketts wants to change his 2021 plans to switch from his conservative 3-5-2 to a more expressive 4-3-3. The shift could see Salah get more time, get more out of a fair set of midfield options. Oliver Norburn was among League One's better players in 18-19. Dave Edwards has Premier League experience. Sean Goss can be a competent controller. Josh Vela may lead the press. And Loney Scott High will bring energy and dynamism from Huddersfield. My God, a player from Huddersfield bringing anything other than a losing mentality. With the Shrewsbury board unlikely to rush into a managerial change, the disillusioned section of fans are left to hope that subtle indications of a braver style from Ricketts will have substance. We've got Shrewsbury, though, in 17th. Ending just above Shrewsbury, though, in 16th is
Burton Albion, Thomas. And obviously the big story about Burton Albion is they have to deal with life without Nigel Clough. I think he's been there since, he predates the Bible, doesn't he?
1899, I believe he signed.
Okay, so doesn't predate the Bible then. But obviously he was everything that was good about Burton Albion for many years. Yes, it's sad that he's not going to be there anymore, but it was always going to be at one point he was going to leave. So let's just see how Burton get over. Jake Buxton has the unenviable task of moving the club past Nigel Clough. But you get the feeling that Nigel Clough would have left it in a good state. You get the feeling like he wouldn't, this has been his life project as a manager. You get the feeling he's not just going to leave it in like a real crappy...
He left so that financially they didn't have to pay his wage for the next 6 months.
Absolutely.
They couldn't afford it.
So you wouldn't say he's ever going to leave it bad for the next person to take over. Certainly not like what Sir Alex Ferguson did for David Moyes. But they were the most steady side. I mean, look at them. Look at these stats for Burton. They are as solid as a rock. Played 32, won 12, drawn 12, lost 11, scored 50, conceded 50. So they are going to be middle of the pack, absolutely. It's a transition season. They're going to be middle of the table. Notable signing, and don't worry, Brewers fans, the goals are going to come from ex-Oxford United marksman Kane Hemmings, who scored an impressive 6 goals in 40 games for Oxford United.
In 15th place, Ian.
Yeah, another club we have to talk about, unfortunately, Thomas, with off-the-field problems. Been dogging Charlton Athletic for a number of years now. All this kind of problems with the owner selling the club but still owning the stadium, problem with the takeover not going through. Who are the ones that lose ultimately? It's the fans. And unfortunately, Charlton fans, you have to suffer with this for a long time. I think we were a bit split on this one. You would have put Charlton a bit lower, didn't you?
I had them getting relegated.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay, and it all comes down to Lee Bowyer. I think if Lee Bowyer stays there, he's going to be the guy that keeps them in this mid-table position. He's done a great job there. He got them promoted. He gave it a really good shot in the Championship. I know they only went down really on the last day of the season. They were there or thereabouts. Top of all the problems as well, they have got a transfer embargo, which isn't going to help things. So, if Lee Bowyer does leave, you can see the wheels falling really off quickly and them sinking down the stable. And I haven't really got much more to say. I just hope things get better for you, Charlton fans. I just think that you'll be all right in mid-table. And we'll just quickly move on.
Ian, I'm not supposed to announce who's in 14th place, but I want you to tell me about my Bells in 14th.
Yes, well, you've given it away. Spoilers. It is Doncaster Rovers in 14th place. It's a big year for Darren Moore, this. And as you know, I'm not a huge fan of him. I think he's slightly overrated as a manager. Have Doncaster actually improved under him as a club? They are a club that they would expect to be up and around the promotion mix. And last season they weren't. I don't see them getting close this year either. They were very inconsistent. Sadler, they lost him to Rotherham, which is a blow, and I think that the squad does look a little bit threadbare. Despite that, the spine of the squad is still good, and they still do have some good players, and they are capable of beating any side in the league. They were particularly good last season when they took the lead. They were they very rarely drop points from a winning position. They've still got James Coppinger, who is still going strong at 39 years of age. Good for you, James. You keep going. You keep playing for as long as don't let them tell you retire. 30, 39, age is just a number. But I just don't think Doncaster have got the quality to be challenging for promotion. Hence, we've got the mid-table, 14th place for your beloved Bells.
Now, I can't remember what video it's in, but Ian absolutely panned this club's promotion last season and was brutal to the nth degree of brutal. So, Ian, tell me who's in 13th place.
13th place is Crewe Alexandra, and I do have to give credit to Crewe, Tom. They were excellent last season, finishing in 2nd place. David Artell's done a wonderful job there. They definitely overachieved, and they deserve to have a shot in League One. I think they're going to do quite well. Most of all, why I think they're going to do well is because they're a very good football inside, and they're very much a joy to watch. They were the top scorers in League Two last season, and they really shared the goals around. Chris Porter was the lead goal scorer with 14 goals, but they got quality all over the pitch, like their fullbacks Perry Ng. I never know how to pronounce that. His name's NG. How do you pronounce the surname? NG.
Ng.
Okay, that'll do. And Harry Pickering were excellent players for them. It's mid-table for Crewe, but I think they'll be a joy to watch. I think they'll play good football and they'll cause teams a lot of problems.
Somehow, Ian, you get to talk about the next two clubs as well. So in 12th place, I love your notes on this club. Who have we got?
We have got Hull City, and as it worked, why it's kind of like long streaks of mine and Tom talking is I took the top half of the teams alphabetically, and he took the bottom half, and it just so happens we've got long streaks where one talks and the other doesn't. So, Hull City, relegated last season. Form fell off a cliff. You sell Jared Bowen to West Ham, and they just seemed to capitulate. They were 8th place at New Year, and they finished bottom. They conceded 87 goals. How does that happen? What?
They Bournemouthed it. They Bournemouthed it.
Oh my God. Grant McCann is still in charge, and it's a Tigers side that'll be looking to bounce back to League One, but I just don't see it happening. And understandably, there's a lot of bad feeling around the club from the fans. If they don't start well, it could be a long season indeed. They've got some players that have done well at League One level, most notably Marcus Maddison, who we know was excellent at Peterborough last season. Tom Eaves and John McGuinness are also good players too. It doesn't feel like anything other than a rebuild season for Hull this season, though, and that's why we've got the middle of the pack.
It's interesting. This is one of the few clubs me and Ian had agreed on. We both just went right away, Hull in 12th. But in 11th, we have
11th place is Gillingham, and again, like a lot of sides, a tale of two seasons. The first half of the season, they were absolutely terrible, and it looked like they'll be fighting relegation. And then they went on a 15-game unbeaten run, and they pushed up towards the playoffs. When they were poor, they were terrible, and when they were good, they were actually a very, very darn good side. And probably shows like the kind of best and worst of Steve Evans, really, as a manager. Like, some people hate him, some people love him, and that's kind of what he got out of last season. Weirdly, it was AFC Wimbledon who ended the run. Random. They were really good at the back though. They kept a lot of clean sheets, as a lot of sides though they did struggle scoring goals. The guy who scored most of their goals as well, Brandon Hanlon, looks like he's going to be on his way. They've signed a couple of good ex-Oxford United players, Tom. Alex McDonald, he got promotion for Oxford in League Two, and I always thought he was a good player. And Jordan Graham was on loan a couple of seasons ago and was a very promising player as well. They signed him from Wolves. And also they signed John Akinde back last season from Lincoln. He didn't really get much of a shout under Appleton at Lincoln, but I think he's a good fit for Gillingham. Steve Evans plays quite a direct style of football, and John Akinde is like a good player for holding up the ball. Again, I think they'll be solid, if not spectacular, and that's why we've got them pretty much where they finished last season, just one place below in 11th. Thomas, I'm going to hand over to you now while I take a rest, and you give us 10th place.
Green Army! It's Plymouth Argyle in 10th place. After achieving successive promotions as a manager from League 2 with Bury and Plymouth Argyle, Ryan Lowe starts a season as a League 1 boss for the first time. He has long-term ambitions to manage English football's top two divisions, and rightly so. The 41-year-old has the innovative ideas within his expansive 3-1-4-2 system to be successful, but also the passion to galvanize players and connect with supporters. A rare thing these days with managers. Lowe is a risk taker. He is set to entrust Michael Cooper with the number 1 jersey this term, despite the talented goalkeeper having not featured in the promotion campaign. Cooper hopes to be protected by the likes of Newcastle loanee Kayland Watts, an important addition to the back three with question marks over Will Ameson's recent fitness record, Gary Sawyer's discipline, and Niall Canavan's ball-playing ability, with Oliver Tomlinson inexperienced. Argyle have at least retained one loanee in Ryan Hardy, who will run in behind, much like Dom Telford. Meanwhile, Welsh poacher Luke Jepcott hopes to further international recognition. Lowe's a fine manager and he's more than capable of delivering great football in a top half finish, although we'd be pretty surprised if they ended much higher than 10th, and we'd be pretty surprised if they're doing well that he wasn't poached. So Plymouth Argyle, ending in 10th.
Okay, let's move on to 9th place. No, I'm not having this. I'm not having it. You can talk about them. You can talk about them all you want, Thomas. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear this.
Fingers in ear. I'll tell you when we're done.
No, I'm off. Bye.
Right, well, while Ian has a tea break, we're going to talk about Swindon Town, who are ending in 9th. Wellens did superbly at Swindon Town, turning the Wiltshire outfit from League Two's underachieving bottom half fodder into title winners in 16 months. Fresh challenges are afoot for the Mancunian motivator, as his side entered League One with forward Ian Doyle, who scored 40% of their goals last season, now at Bolton. It's plausible, though, that Swindon can get a healthy goal return from Tyler Smith. The energetic Sheffield United loanee was described as a star in the making while at the Bells, or any other poacher brought in, because their attractive system is to create chances at will. Losing Yates and Anderson to Blackpool was a blow, but Town have signed versatile playmaker Jack Payne, who's thrived in 4 of his 5 League One stints. The anticipated fixture pile-up means Wellens will be hopeful. Defensive leader Matthew Bowdry, talented centre-back Dion Conroy, full-time turned centre-back Zeki Friars, versatile fullback Rob Hunt, tough tackler Jordan Lydon, and unpredictable forward Dealang Jay Simi, and assist maker Kane Woolery can stay fit for the duration. If so, Swindon's swashbuckling style could see them upset some of the more obvious promotion contenders, but we have Swindon ending in 9th. Ian, come back! It's time.
Thomas, can I just say one thing before we move on?
Yeah.
Begrudgingly, I think Swindon are actually quite good.
Did a part of you just die?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw it happen. Quick, talk to us about 8th place.
In 8th place, we have Blackpool, and Blackpool were a bit of a mixed bag last season. It didn't really work under manager Simon Grayson. So they brought in Neil Critchley, who was the assistant manager at Liverpool. So that's a really interesting signing. You expect him to kind of come in and change the side, and maybe with an emphasis of bringing through youngsters and playing some good football.
Press!
Yes. He obviously took charge, didn't he? He took charge of an FA Cup game when they were in the World Club or a League Cup game or something. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he goes, and it'll be interesting to see how Blackpool go. Obviously, the club's in a much better place than it was a couple of years ago when the Oyston family were there, and they're still kind of... Huh? Oyster family. The Oysters were there.
They like a good shucking.
They have had a huge turnover of players, and their main goal scorer, Nandalay, has left the club as well. So that is going to be a bit of a hard to replace his goals. They brought in players like Keshi Anderson, Jerry Yates, CJ Hamilton, Ethan Robinson to give the Tangerines fans cause for optimism. And I think they're going to play some good football this season. And I think they're going to be there or thereabouts for the playoffs, but just not good enough to quite get them. We got them in 8th place.
Okay, Ian, it's time to talk about the bridesmaid and never the bride. Who's in 7th place?
7th place, we have Ipswich Town, and much to the disappointment of their fans, it will be a season where they don't get in the playoffs or automatic promotion, so they'll have to have yet another year in League One, which I'm sure most of the fans are already pissed off about playing in. Things got worse for Ipswich as the season went on. They started really well, but after like the New Year point, they just hit a really bad patch of form. They sunk right down out of the playoffs, and on the points per game system, they ended up finishing 10th. It was their lowest finish since the 1952-1953 season. Why is Paul Lambert still there? I hear you asking. I do not know. Most Ipswich fans, if you took a snap poll, they wouldn't want him there either, but he seems to have a lot of favour with the board, and they're giving him a lot of another chance. He does a lot of tinkering with formations and different players coming in and out, and I don't think that helps them. I commented this about them a lot when Oxford beat them back in February time. The players seem scared. The players seem scared of making mistakes, and they don't seem like they want to take risks. They seem more scared of losing a game than to go out and win it. And if that carries on again this season, it will just carry on with a bad feeling around the club. And surely you'd have to feel something would have to give them with Lambert there. They are still a massive name for League One, though, and they could well be a side that goes on to win it. So they really should go out and fear no one. But whether they do or not remains to be seen. And that's why I've just got them finishing outside of the playoffs this time around.
And now, as we enter playoff football, it's time to talk about Oxford's greatest nemesis in 6th place.
As we've talked about on this video, Tom, there are some sides that give us no joy in predicting where they will finish, and this is certainly one of them with Fleetwood Town. We've talked a lot about how we don't like Fleetwood that much and how we don't like Barton, but the fact remains they are one of the best sides in League One. They were very, very tough to beat, very solid, and it all came down to that one game against Wycombe where inexplicably everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Scoring goals from corners, players getting sent off. It was the most un-Fleetwood performance at the worst possible time. So the fact remains, the squad's still going to be good. They've still got plenty of strong defence and plenty of goals in the side with that front three of Madden, Evans and Morris. And Joey Barton's proved he has done a good job for a few years there now, and I think it'll be playoffs again for Fleetwood.
Do you know, I actually, part of me always wants Joey Barton to kind of settle down and turn into a nice person, because as a player, I always thought he was underrated, but he always got in fights and, stubbed cigars out in people's eyes and beat people up in the tunnel. But he's clearly gifted, everything he seems to put his mind to. So Fleetwood, I think they're definitely a promotion side.
But this one does give me a lot of joy to say who is going to be in 5th.
Sit back and enjoy, because in 5th place, we've got your current hometown of Lincoln City. Michael Appleton may be more popular this summer within English football as an industry than he is with his own fan base. The former Oxford promotion winner is renowned for his innovative methods and development of young talent. But much like his time at the Kazam Stadium, he has not proved an instant hit. 29 points from 26 games was a comfortable survival total, but not inspirational at all for the people of Lincoln City. The problem he had last season was not having the players to suit his expansive, possession-heavy philosophy. We saw the same thing at Oxford, we saw the same thing at Lincoln, we see the same thing everywhere he goes. Centre backs Sean Kean, Bolger and Michael Bostwick, along with right back Neil Eardley, do not have the skill set he requires, and the latter two have been released. Adam Jackson, Joe Walsh, and Lewis Montsma have arrived to add ball-playing qualities to the defensive options, while Liam Bridcut penned a permanent deal to anchor the midfield aggressively, whilst dictating play next to diligent run tracker Connor McGrandles. This is a club that has backed their manager, and they put a lot of people in places. The athletic Tom Hopper was an expensive January recruit who, despite an underwhelming start, could be trusted to lead the line. And if a permanent loan deal can be struck for energetic finisher Callum Morton from West Brom, they have a great forward line. We think they'll launch a playoff push this season. We think that they're going to do significantly better. And betting against Michael Appleton is betting against the house. Lincoln City, 5th place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've touched on it, but I'll just say, just from when he was at Oxford, it was very much a case of he has a way of playing and he needs to get players in to play that way. Otherwise, he's not going to be successful. But we think he has got those players. Or he has got those players. And that's why we've got them so high. Tell me, who is in 4th?
So in 4th place, we pick Sunderland. And if Phil Parkinson has done anything in his job as Sunderland boss, it's to strengthen the defence. The Black Cats conceded just 18 goals in 25 games since he took charge, giving them the division's best goals against record in that time frame. The rear guard has been strengthened with the additions of Australia international Bailey Wright and Everton youth star Morgan Feeney. While Parky is sometimes criticised for an overly direct style of football.
Michael Parkinson?
Yes, Michael Parkinson indeed. He shakes a little bit. He had to make do without a Zach,
talking about the beloved talk show.
I know. That was bad. I'll leave. He had to make do without a focal point to facilitate his direct methods. The midfield is not entirely convincing. Grant Ledbetter's mobility is suffering at 34, and while the likes of George Dobson and Max Power offer something in the press, neither have quite enough to be top 6 caliber. Similar questions are being asked about the low pedigree goalkeeping options of Lee Burge and Remy Matthews. We both think this Sunderland club from top to bottom is good enough to be in the playoffs. I think everyone thinks it, and I think that if the season had played out last year, they'd have probably made it in, especially over a Wycombe side that, Wycombe fans come at us, you're not that good. We've got Sunderland to end this season in 4th place.
Yep, as I say, we back them for promotion most years. They're a sleeping giant. We could be well wrong with this, and they could win the league with 100 points and whatever. Huge club. Deserves to be promoted. That sounds quite similar to who we have in 3rd place.
It's Portsmouth. The bare stats and local feelings surrounding Kenny Jackett and Portsmouth tell vastly different stories. This is a club that continually fails in the playoffs to get promoting. They've ended semi-final defeats to Sunderland and Oxford now in successive years. And the one against Oxford didn't even turn up for that game. They could have won it with ease. The Portsea Island club accrued 42 points for a possible 54 on familiar soil last year, and their shot data did not suggest that results flattered them. Jacket's critics believed that the data to be a red herring. Pompey's plan was to cross deep from the left wing with an athletic and persistent, but 5'11" centre forward, Ellis Harrison, rarely gleaming any success. Hawkins would have been the ideal reference point for such deliveries, but was underused and subsequently released. Pompey fans do not like Jacket. Pompey fans, if you do like him, please come in and tell us, because I haven't heard anything positive about him. They are going to have to continue to rely on the individual magic of Ronan Curtis, who they are lucky to still have, and will almost certainly not be at the club next year, even if he likes it, because a big club will come in and spend big on him.
It must be very frustrating for the Portsmouth fans on the Jacket thing, just because if you listen to the media, they all talk about what a great manager he is and what a great job he's doing. But Portsmouth fans just do not like the football he's playing and just don't think they should be doing so much better under a different manager.
I mean, I think, and Pompey fans and Sunderland fans, this isn't me criticising you. I just think the level of expectation hurts the players at the end of the day. The players don't seem to play with freedom.
Let's see the lucky two that are going to get automatic promotion.
Well, me and Ian have fought over this, and he's put his foot down. In second place, we have Oxford United.
Oh, no, we're not having Oxford. No, are we really having Oxford this high?
We've gone through 22 other teams. Where did you think they were going to... Ian,
just
shut up.
I liked it better when they were mid-table. I liked it better when they were mid-table.
Use the tape.
Oh,
Put the tape
all right.
on. Put the tape on.
Before I do, I'm just going to say I liked it better than they were mid-table, and there was no pressure, and I know I'm going to have my own Oxford video to talk about this, and I'm very, very nervous to have them this high up, but...
Put the tape on. Thank you. Right. Last season, Carl Robinson oversaw Oxford United's highest finish since 98-99. They lost in the playoff final 2-1 to Wycombe, which was an absolute insanity match that they definitely should have won and could not keep it together. We live streamed it. How Wycombe won those playoffs is beyond us. But the former MK Dons boss has a reputation for developing talent in English football, and that is furthered by the development of centre-back Rob Dickey, who became the best centre-back in the division and will almost certainly be leaving this club at some point. Robinson hopes the physical Elliot Moore, the mature Ron Atkinson, the experienced John Massinho, and perhaps another could thrive in Dickey's absence. Sean Clare signs from Hearts to bring much needed quality from right back. I'm going to say all my notes for this club because I am high on them this year. The Yellows rear guard boasts one of League One's most reliable shot stoppers and stalwart Simon Eastwood. He had a bit of a mare in the playoffs, but it wasn't his fault, especially the go-ahead goal for Wycombe. Alex Garn has done an outstanding job at the base of a three-man midfield. Liam Kelly has come on loan from Feyenoord to potentially challenge Garn, and we have definitely not seen the best from him yet. Matt Taylor on loan from Bristol City has been permanently signed to his boyhood club and is very impressive. I do not back John Aggie, or is it John Aggie? Don't talk. I don't back Aggie as being a great backup, but Matt Taylor is the sort of striker you need to get promoted in this division. The movement of James Henry and Matt Sykes, contenders to play to Taylor's right, will encourage their corresponding fullback to overlap and underlap respectively, while other wide options include Derek Osio, don't speak, and Joel Cooper, called up for Northern Ireland. Regardless of Dickey's future, Oxford entered this season as one of the favourites to go up with one of the strongest clubs in the league. This is it. This is the end of a 22-year wait to get to the second tier of English football. It's Oxford United in second place.
Ow!
Don't speak about Oxford. Lead me into the final one.
I'm sorry, just ripping that off. That was like, I'm sure that was more painful than childbirth. Tom, just quickly, before we move on to number one, I disagree with everything you said, but the way you mispronounced the players' names was fantastic, especially when you called Rob Atkinson Ron Atkinson. And by process of elimination, I'm sure you already know who we're having first, but let's officially announce it. Who is winning League One?
It's Peterborough United. Despite selling the best player in the league, Ivan Toney, we have them winning it. They were the most screwed over by the EFL's decision to go on a points per game basis. They went from playoffs to non-playoffs. They finished 3 points behind Rotherham, who were in second, and in exceptional form from late January. But the Millers were handed automatic promotion and Posh were denied. There are valid grounds for the EFL to make the decision. It was an unenviable circumstance, but equally valid for everyone except for Peterborough United. This is the club's revenge season, a boisterously coined by ever-animated director of football Barry Fry, and will likely begin without Ivan Toney. By saying likely begin, we now know they won't. Ivan Toney went to Brentford earlier today, so they're missing 24 goals. Manager Darren Ferguson has a lot of tools to play with, though. Bristol City loanee Sammy Smodics was a really good player, as was Cheltenham recruit Ryan Broom. Joe Ward, with delivery specialist Dan Butner. Technician Reese Brown extends his stay from Huddersfield, another player from Huddersfield who's decent. To partner all-action Jack Taylor, an inspired January recruit from Barnet. And they've also got Siriki Dembele in between the sticks. Frankie Kent offers ball-playing qualities on the left of a back three in which Nathan Thompson and Mike Beavers bring leadership, though unproven defensive stand-ins could be stretched a bit more. They are probably going to quickly discover that January form, and this is the year with Barry Fry and Darren Ferguson. They are going to storm the league, and they are going to win the league. Peterborough United, Posh in first.
Yeah, honestly, yes, Tom. So the biggest thing is obviously with Peterborough is selling Toney, but they have brought in Johnson Clark Harris from Bristol Rovers as well, so he should maybe not get as many goals as Toney, but he is certainly a good one to come in. And yes, that is our League One predictions in the bag. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Of course, if me and Thomas have predicted it, then it's bound to be correct, or more likely we'll probably get about half right and half wrong. But do let us know down in the comments. We always like to know your feedback. As always, thank you to everybody that supports us on the channel. Please like this video. It helped us out so much. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so as well. Before we round this off, Thomas, just give us the news of a very exciting competition that we've got running with Grandstand Betters.
Yes, so Grandstand Betters have given up a £400 prize pool to pick your Premier League predictions week in, week out. There are prizes after 10 matches, 20 matches, 30 matches, and then an overall prize of £250 to the winner. We are taking part. Grandstand Betters are taking part. You get to go head-to-head with the people that are giving you their predictions every week. Please have a look below. We are also an Amazon affiliate, so please have a look at the link below. We name some products you might want to buy, but if you don't want those products, please use that link anyway. It's a small click for you, but we get a little bit of commission for it, and we get to pour it back into actually bringing you quality football analysis. Just going to echo Ian's thanks and say that we'll see you for the championship predictions.